Welcome back to another episode. I am Sticks. This is my best friend and co-host D-Lo, and we are too complex. We got a lot of basketball to talk about today, but before we get into the content, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the bangers that we drop every single week. D-Lo, how you feeling going into the weekend today, man? What's good with you, my brother?
I'm feeling good going into the weekend, man. Today was very busy. As you know, we talked earlier today before we started recording. Well before we started recording, we talked and told you how busy I was. But going into the weekend, I feel good. Not a lot planned. It's going to be hot again this weekend. It was kind of seasonably, I won't say too cool, but it was cooler than typical time of year. It was like in the 80s here in North Carolina. Just kids want to be outside, but it's too hot for us to be standing out there with them. We can't just let them roam about how we used to roam about when we was young. We used to be all over the place when we were young. Nowadays, you can't just let them roam because got crazies out here. But try to find something to do with them early in the day, and then chill out later on. Like I said, we have our movie nights now on the weekends. Dope. Yeah. What about you? What you got going into the weekend? I'm assuming you got something planned because you told. Well, yeah. What you got going into the weekend?
I got a little bit planned for the weekend. Luckily, like we talked about earlier in the week, man, that heat wave is gone. Because here in Washington, it was unseasonably hot. Other than in North Carolina, it was unseasonably cold. Cool, not cold, but cool.
Cool. It cold.
But luckily it did. Yeah, but it was just cooler than usual for the summer for North Carolina. But yeah, luckily that's gone. So me and Sam can get out the house too. I have something planned to where it'll benefit Sam in a fun perspective, but me in a business perspective on Sunday. So I'm going to a chamber event that the city of Mill Creek is holding here in Washington, to where a lot of small businesses will be there. Throwing a kind of like a street fair, so to speak.
Okay.
So that'll, be fun for Sam. It'll be fun for me too, but I'm there for business purposes mostly, just to kind of get out in the community and see what kind of small businesses are out there that I can kind of speak to, and, just have my face out there and can connect with some centers of influence to be able to say, hey, I want you to, I want to start networking with you. So it's a networking opportunity for me. So that's what I'm doing on Sunday. Tomorrow, I was thinking about taking her to the movies, but she said she ain't seen nothing that she wanted to see. So maybe we'll just chill out and watch some anime like we usually do. Whenever we just kind of just relaxing and try to stay cool, because it has been warm. It's been warm. But yeah, so that's really all I got planned for the weekend. But hopefully everything goes well to where I create some networking opportunities and start selling some more insurance, man. For sure.
I got you. Before we get into it, have you seen the recent Obama video where he's greeting the U.S. men's basketball team?
I did see that. You remember that Key and Peele skit that they did too?
He did exactly that, didn't he? He dapped up all the players and then got to the coaches, and it was a handshake. Keep them at arm's length. Move on to the next one.
It was so funny because it was legit exactly the skit. Like, it was hilarious to see them. He dapping them up, hugging them, like, what's up, boy? You know what I'm saying? What's good with you, boy? You know what I'm saying? Getting hype, and then he get to the coaches. How you doing?
Yeah. He dapped up, was it Steph Curry he dapped up real hard, or was it LeBron? One of the two. Like, he
I can't remember which one it was, he went way back. He went way back. He was like, yeah, boy, what's up with you?
Right.
That joke was so funny, bro. It was hilarious.
Yeah. I got one more. So we talked about earlier this week, we talked about how Nike was declining. Their stock was declining because of declining sales and whatnot. But with all that being said, it is one brand within Nike that is doing very well, and it's Jordan. Jordan is their leading
100%.
Their leading brand, according to reports, their earnings report. Jordan had sold or brought in Nike $7 billion last fiscal year, which is up 6% from fiscal year 23. Do you think Do you think the shoes are one of the reasons why Jordan is widely considered the GOAT?
That is probably the only to me personally. That is the biggest deciding factor is the impact that Jordan had on the culture, on specifically hip hop, black culture. But that's the biggest. That's really the only thing that's separating Jordan in the conversation is the culture's perspective, because everybody, man, you got people in entertainment, music, sports, all different kinds of walks of life. Everybody has at least owned a pair of J's. Like I think at some point in life, somebody's owned a pair of Michael Jordan sneakers. And that's all cultures, black, white, Hispanic, everybody has owned a pair of Jordans, bro. And you talking about last fiscal year, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4.
We can't hear you, bro.
Like if you want to talk about fiscal year, it's about 5 pairs of J's on this rack right here that I got last year. Right. And next year, 2025 is going to be even crazier because there's so many different colorways, classic colorways is coming out as far as Jordan retro sneakers. So I don't think that's ever going to go away. I don't think that's ever going to go away because the retro, and just like we talked about on Tuesday, it's the retros that's keeping Nike alive. And it has nothing to do with anything outside of retros. And really, if it wasn't for Jordan brand, Nike would probably be below a lot of these other brands as far as sports attire, sports shoes, especially sneakers. So, bruh, that's why I wanted to know exactly if Jordan was separately traded, which I kind of figured it wasn't, but I wanted to know what their stock was. Like if they had a separate stock, what is Jordan's stock? Because their stock has to be up crazy. Has to be up crazy.
Nah, they're not separate, but as you know now, they're the highest brand to bring in money for Nike. And you answered my question. My next question I was going to ask is how long do you think people will continue to buy Jordans? Because he hasn't played basketball in over 20 years now. April 16, 2003 was his last game as a professional basketball player. And we still buy his shoes as if he's playing in current day. It got to be at some point, like people got to be like, I don't want no Jordans anymore.
I think it's going to be a while, bro. As long as our generation is still alive, as long as millennials are still here, it's going to be around.
Yeah.
I believe that's what I believe. And because our generation is reflected upon Gen Z as well. Because shoot, Sam got a couple of pairs of J's and all her friends are like, dang, who got you those J's at her school? And she's 17. She ain't never seen Jordan play a day in her life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't think it's going as long as millennials are still here, bro. It's never going away because we understand the influence of Michael Jordan sneakers in our community and in the culture. I don't think it's ever going to go away.
Right.
And I'm a person that says LeBron is the GOAT. That's my choice. But I don't have a single pair of LeBrons. Now I have had LeBrons in the past, but I don't have a single pair of LeBrons right now in my closet. Because his sneakers don't impact the culture. Jordans have been impacting the culture since the 90s.
Right.
And it's 2024 now. So it's like, I don't think it's ever going away as long as we're alive. To be perfectly honest, it's going to last another at least 40, 50 years, bro. I promise you.
I tried to treat bronze like Jordans, but his shoes is just too bulky, man. They don't really go.
They are too bulky, and you can't.
They
really
don't go well. Like the older ones,
some of them do.
The newer ones now, like they're the low tops that he has, or the mid cuts. I think there are, or is it lows?
Lows.
Yeah, they could be. I haven't purchased any, but I guess you could rock those with, just your normal athleisure wear, or a jeans and a t-shirt or something like that. But Jordans, you can wear those with anything, basically.
Anything. Yep. You got people wearing Jordans
select
for weddings,
pair,
bro.
Yeah. Select pair you can wear with anything. But yeah, I tried to do that with bronze, and I had to get rid of them.
Yeah, you can't do it. They're meant for basketball. Like that's exactly what they're meant for. There's been a couple of LeBrons back in the day that were dope that you could wear with a couple of fits, but the most recent ones, maybe like in the past 7-8 years, Yeah, I can say that. In the past 7-8 years, there hasn't been a LeBron you can rock with a fit.
Yeah.
So
I think he has some the recent ones, the lows are like, I think the last 3 have been low. You know, those you could rock with a fit. I think. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to give Bron the benefit of doubt. But I just wanted to present you with that Jordan Brand brings in Nike $7 billion last year. And then trying to figure out, when do we stop buying Jordans? I guess it'll never ever happen.
not in our lifetime, I don't think. As long as we're still influencing the culture, the ones that actually saw Michael Jordan actually play, I don't think it's going away until we're gone, bro. Honestly, and that's the only thing that's separating Michael Jordan from LeBron. To be perfectly honest, is the sneakers and the effect on the culture. For real.
Yeah. Well, sticking with basketball, as Sticks mentioned, to open up the show, we're going to have a lot of basketball topics to talk about today. The NBA has finalized its new media rights, or will be finalizing its new media rights deals with Disney's ESPN, NBC Universal's NBC Sports, and Amazon Prime Video. The deal or deals will be worth $76 billion for the next 11 years and will introduce new platforms for game broadcast. Sticks, what does this say about the value of sports in America?
I threw
you a loop.
You threw me a little curveball, but I don't even think it's just sports, bro. I think it's entertainment in general, and I think we talked about this one time in a previous segment, probably over a year or so ago, where entertainment is people pay more for entertainment than they pay for education.
Mm-hmm.
And this almost $7 billion a year package for the NBA is crazy. I mean, but this is what the world likes. I mean, people love to be entertained, and the media, these media companies know it because they're looking at the numbers and they look at how many people are watching. And everybody wants to get a piece of that pie. Because they're a separate, because all of these companies pay a separate cost to the NBA to be able to broadcast it, right? So you got a couple of different ones that are paying. Let me see if I can find what I was looking at earlier. What was I looking at earlier? Where's it?
ESPN's paying $2.6 billion. Amazon's paying 1.8 or 1.7 billion, something like that.
paying 1.4. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you're talking about what you're talking? I was talking about the current deal or the deal that's in place.
No. Well, yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I was alluding to, though. Yeah, how much each individual company is paying to the NBA to be within this $76 billion package. So it's so many. It's so crazy, bro. Because entertainment is so sought after. Because as much as I don't watch television, as much as I only really watch sports, it all just makes sense how much these companies want to get in on the money-making ability that sports has. And sports has so much money-making ability because everybody watches, and it gives them opportunities to. It's kind of like what we're trying to get into with YouTube. The partner program, like it has so many opportunities for people to put ads in between and stoppages of play, things of that nature, where we can. Same thing with us. We're trying to use YouTube as the same kind. We put in a sweat equity to get YouTube to say, okay, you're part of the partner program. We're gonna start putting ads so we can get paid. It's because we know the power that YouTube has within the information universe. So it's like, because people come to YouTube for everything. I come to you. I'm YouTube is the main thing that I watch. I don't watch really anything else other than if there's some sports that I'm interested in, which right now there isn't any. So most of the time I'm on YouTube. So it's yes. I mean, to answer your question, entertainment is a cash cow, bro, and everybody knows that. Everybody knows entertainment is a cash cow, and hopefully one day, Too Complex becomes that company that's able to buy into something like that. You know what I'm saying? But
that'd be crazy.
So, but and basketball is now with this contract, which is still about three billion, which is a crazy number to say, $3 billion off of the NFL. But this
no,
because people pay. I saw something. Hold on. I saw something earlier where I was reading that The NFL averages $10 billion per year, but that is with 5 networks. So the NBA only has 4 that's kicking into theirs. But,
so in the same time, not to cut you off, but in the same time frame, 11 years, which the NFL signed their current media rights deal in 2021, the NFL got got 110 billion for the 11 years. So I mean, you are correct in the annual portion of it. They're $3 billion off, but it's the totality of the contract. 76 billion compared to 10 billion. That's a big difference. But to me, billion, we can't even fathom the billion.
We can't even fathom $1 billion. Not at least not right now. Hopefully, eventually we will. But we can't even fathom that right now. But I mean, it's still.
No, you're right with the you're right with the actual amount yearly. And so you go over the 11 years, that equates to the 30 plus billion, that the difference between the two contracts. But 30 billion is a lot of money.
It is, bro. And the biggest thing is that NBA is starting to come. The NBA is starting to actually make, and the reason why I say NBA is starting to make actual progress with the NFL is because NFL is widely regarded as American sport. To me, I mean, I think it's overtaken baseball at this point. To me personally, because I don't know a lot of people, even baseball players. I don't even know a lot of baseball players that can sit and watch a baseball game. I don't even. Our boy, shout out Uncle Demi. I don't even know the last time he watched a baseball game. Well, he could be wrong. He probably watches playoffs and what I'm saying, the World Series and things of that nature. But that's kind of like everybody saying I don't watch basketball until the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So it's same thing. But it's one of those things that it's good to see the NBA start to rival the NFL when it comes to these TV deals, because the NFL has been kicking everybody's ass for the past decade, for real, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. For a long time. So it's good to see them actually start coming up within the broadcast space to be able to rival the NFL. But so with this being said, though, whenever we talked about this segment earlier in the week, as far as things that we were going to talk about this week, I was thinking it was going to be something that could lead into something with the WNBA too, but I don't know if this. I think the only way that this helps the WNBA is that they're bringing in more money to be able to subsidize them, which is crazy to say. But how does this help the WNBA though? Like, does this even help the WNBA at all with this new package?
I don't think this new package helps the WNBA other than the subsidize that you were talking about. But being the fact that the WNBA is beginning to bring in more viewers, the WNBA is starting to attract more fans to the actual games. It can help them in negotiations down the line whenever they try to get their own deals or whatever. Because right now the current deals that they have, I believe, are within the old NBA media rights deal. So, but the current one, the one that we are talking about, the 11 years, 76 billion, is not included in that. So I think it could help the WNBA in the future when they try to get their own media rights deal to maybe get more money than they probably would have gotten by themselves or in previous years. But now, being the fact that the NBA has gotten this big deal, maybe like, okay, well, we're starting to see the numbers say that the WNBA is going to be worth this, or the trajectory for them to bring in whatever type of viewership in the next couple of years. This is the amount of money that we can give you.
Yeah, because what I'm looking at right now is they're on a $60 million. The current TV deals are around $60 million annually across several TV and streaming partners, which those partners are. So the current WNBA, $60 million annually from its TV streaming deals with Disney, Amazon Prime Video, and other companies, is currently in joint negotiation with the NBA and Walt Disney Company. It doesn't tell me whenever it ends though. So like you said, hopefully that means that, like you said, the popularity of women's basketball is up tremendously. With Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and the other rookies that came into the league, and them bringing so much more viewership to the WNBA. Hopefully like you said, this is going to just help the NBA subsidize the WNBA because they're making way more money. But hopefully it won't be as much once their new contract comes up, because they'll be able to see like, hey, people are actually watching. And the NBA got this $76 billion deal. Like,
Right.
We need to be somewhere in the triple digit millions, hopefully within the next, hopefully over a bunch of different years for them too, because the viewership is going up. And WNBA basketball, although it's very, and this is just my opinion, and I'm not hating on women, although it's very bare bones, basic basketball being played in a lot of ways, it's still good basketball to watch. And like I said, whenever I went to a basketball game with my daughter, I actually had a really good time. The crowd engagement is good. The women are amazing, athletes, but the viewership just wasn't up enough until here recently. So hopefully this is able to for these different networks to be able to see, hey, we're giving the NBA this much money because it's an exciting game. And now we have, some rivalries going on in the WNBA. And there's a lot of people who are watching for that. A lot of people are watching for the excitement of Caitlin, the energy of Angel. Let's give these girls some more money too. So hopefully that's able to pick up within this too. So I guess we just have to see. But I think it's great for on both sides, because the NBA is making some bread, bro. Golly, $76 billion? That's insane.
Yeah, I understand that there are more players on per team with the NFL, but the NBA players make ridiculous money.
They make crazy money, D-Lo.
And you don't see that in the NFL, which we just said. The NFL's current media rights deal is $110 billion over 11 years. NBA is $76 billion over 11 years.
11 years.
NBA arenas are smaller. NFL stadiums are bigger. But in their collective bargaining agreement, somehow the NBA players have said, we are demanding this amount of money and we're going to get it. And they have gotten it. And NFL, I don't know what it is. I don't know how the owners continue to have so much power. And the reason I bring this up is because I read an article on this particular media rights deal with the NBA, and they're saying it's going to help players get more money in the future, and open up the, oh man, just drew a blank there. Open up the salary cap even more. So expand the salary cap even more. And they are saying by 2030, players could end up getting, the high top players in the league could end up getting $100 million a season under contract. What in the world is going on?
Yep. I think I read the same thing that you said, because it says right here, for players, it means the league salary cap will see an annual, over these 11 years, an annual 10% increase. Get ready for the possibility that top players may be earning somewhere near $100 million per season in the mid 2030s. That is insanity. Insane. And not to mention to D-Lo's point, most of these contracts are guaranteed contracts.
Guaranteed money.
I don't know too many contracts in the NFL where it's guaranteed, and that sport is so much more violent than the NBA. So but you know what that is though, D-Lo? That's the PA. That's the Players Association.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't know what the NFL. I don't know what the owners have. Like, I don't know how much power. Obviously, they have a lot of power to where they're just like, no, we're not doing it. No, you're not getting guaranteed. You start to see more guaranteed contracts, but it's not fully guaranteed like the NBA and the MLB and other sports leagues.
But that's advocacy, though. That's the Players Association not advocating for the players. That's what that is. That's what I think that is, because
they need to try to get some more advocates in there.
Yeah, for sure. Like, they definitely do, because there's no reason why at this point in big 2024 that there are very few guaranteed contracts in the NFL where those dudes put their bodies on the line way more often for 18 weeks now in the NFL, to where they're not getting any guaranteed contracts. That doesn't make any sense to me.
If we speaking from a business standpoint, I definitely understand why they don't get guaranteed contracts.
Well, but I can see that too.
But to your point, they put their body on the line more than the average NBA player, MLB player, even though those seasons are longer. but it's not as physically grueling, in my opinion. I haven't played 82. I haven't played an 82 game season or 162 game season.
I've played 34, and it's tough.
Yeah.
So 34 is tough, but it ain't as tough as I wouldn't say it's as tough as so in college, we played 34 games, and I played all 34. In college, we played 13 games in college, which could have been 15, but we only made it out of the second round, made it to the second round of playoffs, but neither here nor there. We played 13 games, and those 13 games were way more taxing than the 34 to me personally, because I played both sports in college, and those 13 games were way more taxing than the 34.
And so you got to think, like, I know in amateur basketball, they got the AAU circuit. You're also doing high school basketball. So, you putting miles on your legs and whatnot before you actually get to the league. And then you have to do the mandatory 1 year of some type of plan, whether it be college or if you go Brandon Jennings and go somewhere else and play and then come back. So you're putting miles on your legs young when you're playing basketball. But you got to think about football too. Like, you put in a lot of, if you are one of those top players, say a lineman or a linebacker, and I know
the trenches already know,
right? I know this segment was supposed to be about the basketball deal, but it just like the type of money the NBA get compared to the NFL players. I'm like, it don't make sense, especially seeing the type of deals that the NFL has. I don't understand. But back to my point, the trenches, they put in a lot of taxing on their body, beating, pounding, with each other. Pause. Coming up until they get to the NFL, you got to do 3 years outside of high school before you can go to the NFL. I mean, if anything, their rookie deals should be guaranteed, and then once they get to then once they get to that point, if they can make it to the second contract and get a big deal, then you just like put them on a tier or something, or vice versa. I don't know, but I feel like it should be more guaranteed contracts in NFL, especially with the amount of money that they have, especially with the amount of merchandise that they sell, especially with the size of the stadiums that they have, the cost for the stadiums. It's just I don't understand it.
That just goes to the PA, man. They don't have a lot. They don't have a really good players association advocating for them. That's what I believe, to be perfectly honest with you. But I mean, and the NBA PA got to be goddamn going crazy because they steady getting more bread. Salary cap stay going up. People are. I think the NBA has the most. That they have the most power over their careers than any sport in history.
It's a players driven league, and everybody says it. Everybody says
a players driven league.
And so, like, when you talk about the NFL, it's an owners driven league. But I just
it don't make no sense.
It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense because it's the same. The current players that are in the NBA, as well as the current players that are in the NFL, they come from the same cloth. It's the same type of person. So I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm really flabbergasted right now of
befuddled.
Why? Yeah.
That's the title, Flabbergasted and Befuddled. But for them to be expecting $100 million contracts because of this new media deal, that's crazy, bro. In the mid 2030s, that's crazy, and that's because of this new deal. Because the mid 2030s is whenever this is going to end in 2035. So, like, if this media deal is bringing that much money in, I know that the NFL has brought in that much money with their current media deal, which is also 11 years. So it's like that's insane to me, bro. You got a point, D-Lo, for sure. They should have way more guaranteed contracts in the NFL than they have right now in the NBA. But have to see how that moves forward. But sticking with basketball, because we said we got a lot of basketball to talk about. Kawhi Leonard was originally picked for the 2024 Paris Olympics team, but is now not going to be performing. That sounds crazy. He's not going to be a part of the team anymore with the Paris Olympics, and from what it seems like in the reports that they're saying is because of his injuries, but I think it's about something a little bit different. D-Lo, why do you think Kawhi Leonard is not going to be participating in the Paris Olympics? And with them bringing on Derek White, did they have any other options that were a little bit better than Derek White?
So as far as Kawhi's concerned, this is such a Kawhi Leonard thing to do.
Ain't it though?
It's such a Kawhi Leonard thing to do. From rumors and reports, he was participating, practicing well, leading up to their first game, and then out of I'm going to say out of nowhere as a fan, but reading reports, it was a collective agreement. But then all of a sudden, he says he's not going to participate. Same thing happens with him during the basketball season. Round 1 or round 2 of the playoffs, he's playing well, busting ass, and then all of a sudden he's out the next game. And then that turns into he's out for the rest of the series. It's like, what? Wow, what's going on, man? I don't know. But I mean, I can't say that I'm surprised. It's definitely a Kawhi Leonard thing. I don't know. I mean, sometimes I even wonder why we consider him one of the better players in the NBA, because he's never, after Toronto, he's never really been available to help his team like actually win in the championship and get a win the NBA finals or make it to the NBA finals. So sometimes I'm like, why do we even consider him one of the better players? But obviously when he's on the court, when he's healthy, he's a problem. He's defensively, he's a menace. He's proven in the last couple years that he can score with the best of them. He can be efficient when he needs to be. So I understand that. As far as Derek White being picked to join the team, they definitely had other options. I've said when we discussed the team being picked, they could have, the snubs were obviously Kyrie. And then I said Jalen Brunson. And then since Derek White comes from the Boston Celtics, they could have brought Jaylen Brown, who was the finals MVP, to be a part of the team. I understand why somebody would say that, or why we would say that, but he wouldn't have been my first pick. I would have said Kyrie or Jalen Brunson. Now, the only reason you would say Jaylen Brown is because of his height and his length and his athleticism. And he also was a part of the 2019 World Cup team or FIBA World Cup. But so was Derek White, which I found out. So, I mean, you don't necessarily need any more killers on the team per se, because they already have plenty of those. If KD can play, because he didn't play against Canada the other night, which, speaking of that, off topic real quick, I didn't realize Canada had that many NBA players.
Hoopers, bro.
I was like, wait a minute, huh? He from Canada?
Got some hoopers, bro.
You got Shea, you got Murray, you got Brooks, you had oh my God, old boy with the Knicks, or no, he's not with the Knicks anymore, but he played at Duke. What's his name?
Damn, you put me on the spot. RJ Barrett.
RJ Barrett. I mean, I'm like, dang, I forgot.
And you still got Andrew Wiggins, who was not allowed to play.
You know what I mean? Like, dang, crazy.
They got some hoopers, dog.
They got some hoopers. But yeah, back on topic. But yeah, so they definitely had other options than Derek White. But like I said, you don't necessarily need any more killers on the team. Just need a good fit, somebody that's gonna take on the role that's given to them. For lack of better terms, be appreciative to be on the team and not expect too much, or be a problem when it becomes crunch time, or be a cancer to the team chemistry. So maybe he was the best overall pick, but they definitely had other options that they could have put on the team.
100%. I mean,
best overall. When I say best overall, because you made a face, best overall for the chemistry of the team.
For the chemistry of the team, and just like so. to echo D'Lo's point, this is definitely a Kawhi Leonard thing, bro. This is like Kawhi Leonard has been the most pampered basketball player over the past 7-8 years now, like almost a decade at this point. Mm-hmm. Since he left San Antonio, he has been the most pampered basketball player I have ever seen in my life. And for somebody to be, arguably one of the top 10 players in the NBA, some would argue top 5 players in the NBA currently, for the way that he controls teams here recently is insane to me. And like D'Lo pointed out, he had been practicing very, very well. He had been looking good. Everything was looking towards Kawhi Leonard actually playing in the Paris Olympics. But all of a sudden, like D'Lo said, for lack of a better phrase, now he's not going to be participating in the Paris Olympics. I think this is very similar to what happened to Andrew Wiggins with the Golden State Warriors. Like, they didn't want Andrew Wiggins to play for Canada so they can have him healthy enough to be able to possibly trade him down the line. That's why he's not playing for Canada in the Paris Olympics. This is the same thing on the opposite spectrum for me, is that I think that the USA Olympic Board and the Clippers came together and said, hey, like, we need him healthy for the 2024-2025 season. We don't want nothing to happen to bruh because his track record. Mm-hmm. Let's not allow him to play in the Paris Olympics because of that. And I think that's what it is, because he does have a max contract, but he's making 3 years, 150, which we'll talk about here in a little bit in the next segment. So, like, they need Kawhi. Kawhi was one of the main reasons why they only made it to the second round of the playoffs this past year. He was one of the main reasons why. Because he hasn't been available. Your best ability is availability. And he hasn't had the availability to put together really good runs since he was in Toronto when he won that NBA championship. Because of his injury, he's always injury prone. He's always hurt. He's always load managing. People would say that he's cleared to play, but he just doesn't play to quote unquote make sure that he's actually ready. Like, come on, bro. Kawhi Leonard is the most privileged basketball player I have ever seen. And I hate it. Honestly, I hate the fact that he's so babied around the NBA. Now, to get to who was a better option, I mean, Derek White, congratulations to you, brother. Like, you know what I'm saying? You are a great basketball player, point of attack defender. You had a really good defensive year this year. I didn't even know you averaged more blocks than you averaged steals. I didn't know that. Didn't know that. Well, not by much. 1.2 blocks, 1 steal. Same, but still. I didn't know you averaged that many blocks as a guard. That is really, really good. But he's a really good player. Whenever we're talking about Olympics, bro, you can never have too many killers. Never had too many killers.
That's true.
Derek White, I'm not saying I'm not, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
Listen what I'm saying. Listen what I'm saying, Dino. Listen what I'm saying.
Listening.
Derek White is a killer in his own right. And yes, he fits the chemistry in a sense of, what was it that Grant Hill said in that report? Let me see if I can find it before I get too deep and it's too quiet. I don't want it to be too quiet. He was saying that, he said one of the many things I really love about Derek, and particularly with this team, is I don't feel like his role is going to change much with our team for what he does with the Celtics. He plays alongside 2 incredibly great young players, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And this setting is hard when you come in and you have you're the center of the universe, and now you have to establish a role, and it might be different than what you have to do on your team. And so we have someone who can come and play off of guys, be complimentary to some others, but then also stand out and be a dynamite defensive player, knock down shots, and just impact winning. I get that. 100%. 100% get that, because that is the role that he plays for the Celtics, and he's going to be stepping into that same role with the Olympics. But when you talking about the Olympics, bro, you want to have the best national players to play for your team. That's why they put the Dream Team together. That's why they put the Redeem Team together. That's why they put all of these teams together, because you have all those killers in one place and there's no way you're going to lose. You could have took somebody like D'Lo said, like a Kyrie, you know what I'm saying? Like a Jalen Brunson, like a Jaylen Brown, like a Trae Young, somebody like that. Or if you really want to be a killer, go get Draymond. The international hammer, dog. What are you talking about? Go get Draymond. Why not? You got enough guards. Put Draymond on the team, and ain't nobody go smack everybody around. Go get somebody like that. But there were so many better options than Derek White. But I understand the pick, and I understand what he means, the piece that he brings to the Olympic team. So all in all, congratulations to Derek White, but there were some better options out there for sure. Definitely.
Yeah. Let's get back to the Kawhi portion of it though, because you brought up a good point, and I have a question to ask about that. Okay. So it was said, it's been floated that Ty Lue, who's an assistant coach, or he's on the coaching staff for the USA team, as well as the general manager for the Clippers, were at the USA practices, and they, along with Kawhi, decided, I
wonder why.
Yeah. And they, along with Kawhi, decided that, he should just chill. He shouldn't play or participate in the Olympics. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about teams keeping players or having the power to keep players from representing their country? We talked about Andrew Wiggins in the Warriors situation. Now, apparently, Kawhi is having similar experience with the team, basically requesting that he not play in the Olympics to keep him healthy enough to make it through the season. How do you feel about teams having the power to keep them from participating in the Olympics?
You don't necessarily like it, but it's a business before it is a hobby.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So, and I could just give my experience a little bit. Whenever I was let go from the Atlanta Falcons, I was on the verge of signing a practice team contract, but contract nonetheless. Contract nonetheless, right? And since I was already injured in college, I had a shoulder injury in college, and I came into the NFL and I ruptured my hamstring. It was a "what have you done for me lately" type of thing. You were performing on the field before you got hurt, but you came in hurt, and now you got hurt again. So now you're injury prone. Let's not give you this contract. Kind of similar to what's going on with Kawhi in a sense that he is a superstar, but he has $150 million guaranteed. So regardless if he gets hurt or not, he's getting that $150 million. No business is going to want their asset, their most expensive asset, to not be an asset to them, make them extra additional money, because they're going to have to pay him regardless. So if they're going to say, if he's has a history of being injury prone, which he does, he has a history of load managing, not playing, not performing, people not coming to the games and being mad if they do come to the games whenever he's not playing, because they want to see that excitement. They want to be entertained. We talked about that in the NBA the TV contract. People want to be entertained. And if he's not playing, and now they don't have Paul George, they gave him away for nothing, which we'll talk about here in a second. The only thing that you're going to see right now is Kawhi Leonard. Now, you can say they still got James Harden, but he averaged a little bit more than 16 points last year. He ain't entertaining no more. So they want to see Kawhi. Then that's going to bring in more money, sell more jerseys, sell more tickets, TV deals. They're going to be on the TV more whenever Kawhi plays. So it's going to bring in more money for the organization. So as if I was a business owner, and I got $150 million on the table that's at stake, and he gonna go play for the Olympics and possibly get hurt and be out for the season, I don't want to give him that $50 million. So they have to do something to protect their asset.
Yeah, I understand that, and that obviously I know that is the answer, right? It's a business at the end of the day. But if that's the case, if that is the case, why have any NBA player participate at all in this day and age, especially with the amount of money that they are now getting and will get in the future? Why have any NBA player participate at all? And also, to take it a step further, why have any college player play, especially with them starting to get the money that they're getting with the NIL deals and whatnot, and potentially getting more money with the conferences schools being able to pay them now. So, like, if we're talking about strictly business, we want the best of the best to represent us in the Olympics, because we take that highly competitive. We take that seriously. Why have any of these individuals participate at all? Right? True. Is my question.
Well, because I think that go ahead. Finish up.
I'm just saying, because money aside, we take the Olympics were started because of the competitive nature of every country, and you want to have the best of the best represent you. But if the best of the best can't participate because you're worried about them, you're trying to protect them as an asset for your business, who participates for us? It's not going to be our best of the best.
Agree. But see, that goes back to the conversation we had last week about the football team. It's an under 20 football team. So the NBA could 100% do that.
We didn't have 100%. That
100%.
conversation. Not on the podcast anyway.
Oh, okay. Okay. Got you. Well, we talked about that, the whole situation where Japan just beat us in the football Olympics, the American football Olympics at that. And they just beat us. But the team is under 20. There's no NFL players on that team. If it was, America would be dominating. We all know that. Mm. But that's the difference between basketball and football, is that this is a worldwide sport. Football is becoming that too. American football is becoming that too. But NBA is a worldwide sport. So we're going to put our best foot forward every time. But now, to be perfectly honest,
though.
Well, true. We ain't putting our best foot, though. Knees, Achilles, we ain't putting those forward if we talk about the business at hand. But to be perfectly honest, they could go to an under 20. And I still think, nah. It'd be like Japan and American football. If they did an under 20 in basketball, they can 100% do that if they wanted to.
Well, if every other country can have their professional players come play. Well, see, that's the thing, because those countries have their own professional leagues, whereas the best from those countries come to the NBA. But if NBA said nobody can play, no professional player from the NBA can play in the Olympics, they have to be whatever from those countries. Those other countries have professional leagues where they have good players in them, and you put them against 18 and 19-year-olds, which is why we put NBA players in the Olympics in the first place. They gonna dominate us. I wouldn't say dominate, but it's not gonna be like it has been with the original Dream Team, with the Redeem Team, and hopefully we expect this team to do well. But who knows?
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I think all in all, we know what the answer is. I don't think. I mean, they have the power because and ultimately it is a business. They have that kind of power. Should they have it? I'm gonna go out on the limb and say yeah, because but like I said, Kawhi is if we're going by the statement of what have you done for me lately, Kawhi has not done shit for anybody lately. If we're being perfectly honest, I mean, he's a great player when he's on the court, but his availability has been ass. So, like, what have you done for me lately? I would, if I was the Clippers, go play. But no, that's contradictory to what I just said earlier. Because if I'm an owner, I'm not letting Kawhi play either because I owe him $150 million guaranteed. So and I don't want to pay him that if he gets hurt in the Olympics and he can't play for the entirety of the NBA season coming up 24-25. I don't want to pay him $50 million.
I mean, Steph Curry's making $52 million. He's playing, but Andrew Wiggins couldn't play. LeBron just signed a $51 million per year contract. He's playing.
Going into year 22. And he's
AD
playing.
Is injury prone. I mean,
the most babied NBA player in the history of the NBA, bro.
Well, 100%. Okay. LeBron isn't known to be injury prone. Steph has some nagging injuries. Mm-hmm. AD has had some nagging injuries. Stuff, yep. He has a big contract. Who else? KD, the last couple years, and he didn't play the other night. And we don't want to make this longer than what it needs to be. I'm just right. Saying. I don't know that. I understand like professional leagues, professional teams should have that power because it is a business. They are paying these athletes tons of money. But I mean, we're talking about maybe a once in a lifetime opportunity to represent your country. And the Pandora's box was opened in 1992 when you said, okay, let's let professional athletes play. Now you're saying, let's rethink this. So are we going to go back to college players playing in the Olympics instead of professional NBA players? I don't know. Like I said, I'm not trying to belabor that.
Kawhi Leonard is, again, it's the case of Kawhi, to be perfectly honest. This dude is the most babied NBA player in the past decade, probably in the history of the NBA. I don't think there's any other player in the history of the NBA that has been babied and coddled as much as Kawhi Leonard and still paid among the top 10 in the NBA. He's the only person that I've ever seen get this kind of treatment, and it's insane. It's insane. So I mean, if it's literally just him. It's literally just him. That's it. It's just Kawhi. Yeah, it's the Kawhi effect. That's all it is.
So Paul George was discuss what led him to leave the Los Angeles Clippers in his recent episode of Podcast P with Paul George. How do you feel about what he said that led to his departure? I didn't want to give too much information away. I wanted you to, because you got a lot to say.
About to go off for a second. Just bear with me, team. Audience, bear with me, guys. So it's gonna sound crazy. It's gonna sound kind of zesty me saying this low key, but Paul George is giving me the ick, bro. He's giving me the ick because he is the most contradictory player I have seen in a very long time. Meaning, okay, just for some context, Paul George was discussing what his contract negotiation before the season and what led up to him actually ultimately leaving the Clippers and going to the 76ers on his podcast P. And he was getting into the negotiation part of it. He was saying that before the season, they were negotiating his extension and they high key lowballed Buddy and said, hey, we're going to give you a 2-year 60 extension. He was like, nah. And I understand why he was like, nah. And he felt kind of disrespected by that because people like CJ McCollum are making $30 million a year. People like Julius Foulius Randle up there in New York is making $30 million a year. He's better than them. He deserves more money than them. He's better than them. Than me personally, I believe he's better than them. But backtrack a little bit. And the reason why, okay, keep going. I'm gonna keep going for a second. He admitted in this same statement that he doesn't feel like he deserved to get Kawhi Leonard money. He didn't feel like he deserved to get Kawhi Leonard money. And he was like, I'm not asking y'all to give me what Kawhi got, you know what I'm saying, but give me what my, you know, what I am in this NBA, in the NBA, which is cool. Get what you can get, bro. Get what you think your stock is. 100%. I agree with that. But if you go back a couple of years, whenever he was talking about, well, how many years would that be now? About 4 years now, when he was in Oklahoma City. If you go back a few years, and he was talking to JJ Redick on his podcast about how he is no longer the number one option anymore. He doesn't think that's his role on the team anymore. So if that is the case, then you admit that Kawhi Leonard is the number one. And you said it in the whole statement whenever you were talking about your contract negotiation that Kawhi Leonard is number one. So he deserves to get the money that he got, the 3-year 150. Cool. But as he continued to talk, he started contradicting that same statement as, okay, it started getting to the All-Star break. We still haven't gotten a negotiation. Let's just play basketball and we'll talk about it after the season. Cool. I get that too. Get to the end of the season and they end up telling him, okay, cool, we'll give you the 3-year 150, which is what Kawhi is making. Nigga declines that and says, okay, if you're going to give me the 3-year 150, give me a no trade clause. Do you know how many players in the NBA right now have a no trade clause? Maybe 6. Maybe 6. Players like Steph ain't got no trade clause. I don't even think it's even that many. I think it's maybe like 3 people in the NBA right now that have a no trade clause. One of them is Bradley Beal, which is probably one of the worst contracts in NBA history, if we're being perfectly honest. He has a no trade clause, which means that the player can decline being traded if they ever try to. He can only be traded if he signs off on it. So no trade clause. So he said, okay, give me the 3-year 50 no trade, 3-year 150 no trade. They were like, no, we're not doing that. So, all right, cool. If you're not going to do that, then give me a 4-year 212, which contradicts what he said in his earlier statement. I don't think I need to be making what Kawhi makes or more. I don't want more than Kawhi. Just give me what Kawhi got. They give you that. You decline and ask for more than what Kawhi got. Like, who do you think you are, bro? Like, you're a 35-year-old basketball player. Like, let me finish. Let me get it off. Pause. He's going into the end of his prime, which again, I think he's worth more than 2-year 60. I think he deserves 3-year 150, but don't say in one statement that you don't want more than Kawhi and you want what Kawhi gets. They give you what Kawhi gets and then you ask for more in that same statement. Now, going back a little bit further, the reason why I say he's the most contradictory basketball player I've ever seen in the history of basketball is because every time he doesn't perform, he has some kind of excuse. Talk about the bubble. The motherfucker was talking shit before the bubble started. They don't perform in the bubble. Oh, I was depressed and going through this, going through that. That's why I didn't perform. Okay, whatever. The COVID was depressing. It was for a lot of people, not just NBA players, and they were stuck in a bubble. I can understand why that is, but there are other people that nobody else said that, but him. Now you go back a little bit more and you talk about how they didn't perform when he was in OKC against Portland. Then when he said that old boy took a bad shot. Just play defense. Like, stop making excuses. I just don't like the fact that Paul George, although a really good basketball player, a historic basketball player in a lot of people's eyes, that he contradicts everything he says all the time. And it just irks me. It gives me the ick about Paul George. Now, I probably know what you're about to say. I'm gonna let you get your point off. My whole point is, you let the Clippers give you away for absolutely nothing. And you go, and then not only that, you go to the Sixers for 3-year $150. You didn't get a no trade clause with them either. So what were you trying to hold the Clippers hostage? Did he get a no trade? If he did, I didn't know that. But he got the same exact contract that they offered him with the Clippers. Same contract. They offered him that same thing. I don't think he has a no trade.
Nah, yeah. Okay.
Does he have does he have a no trade clause with the 76ers?
He doesn't have a no trade clause.
The same 3-year $150, right?
He got the 4 year.
He got the 4 $212
million.
Hey, but so that changes the conversation a little bit, because he actually got what he thought he was worth.
It changes the conversation a lot. So I think you have a good point about the contradictory, right? And previous experiences of Paul George and how he reacts after negative situations towards him. I don't think this is one of them. The reason I say that is because before the season, like you said, go back with what you said, they were starting with the contract negotiations, and they offered him the 2 year $60 million, which is 30,
which is crazy. Yeah,
which is 30 million a season. Mm-hmm. And then he declined it, said he felt disrespected, didn't say, and in his whole time telling this story about the contract negotiation, said there's no hard feelings towards the Clippers, so on and so forth. That could very well be BS, but whatever. So, Like you said, at All-Star break, they couldn't get anything done. And he said, let's just table it till after the season. It's kind of messing with me. I'm getting upset about it, so on and so forth. Let's just wait till after the season. After the season, they come to him, tell him that they want him to be retired Clipper. They want him to be a Clipper for life. They value him. So that being said, they would give him the 3 years, $150 million, is that a max deal? I don't know shit.
It is a max deal.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And so they
which
were
is what he
giving
asked for, which is what he asked for.
That's what he asked for. But as you know, and as I told you when we were talking about this, yesterday's price is not today's price. And even though they gave him what he asked for, all he asked for was, okay, if you value me as a member of the Clippers team and you want me to retire as a Clipper, just throw the no trade clause in there and I'm good. You give me what I want, just throw that in there. They told him no.
Within that,
they told him no.
More. I agree. And the reason why they told him no is because he said he didn't want more than what Kawhi got. Throwing that no trade clause in there is more than what Kawhi got. And to table that a little bit more too, you saying that you're not a number one guy anymore, that's what they were negotiating off of. It's saying, okay, you're not number one, so you're not going to get paid like a number one. That's you admitting that Kawhi Leonard is the number one guy on this team, so why would we pay you like a number one guy? But they still did it. They literally still did it. But go ahead.
No, I get that. But what I'm saying is, so if you tell me, because we all know professional teams do you grimy. They'll tell you one thing, and then as soon as they get the opportunity, they get rid of your ass. Mm-hmm. And so if you telling me, before I say what I'm gonna say about what they told him, LA's home for him. Mm-hmm. He wants to stay in LA, and he said I didn't want to leave LA, but They told him they want him to remain a Clipper and be a Clipper for life, retire as a Clipper. So if you can fix your mouth as an organization to say all of that, give me what I wanted originally after we go through contract disputes prior during the season or before the season, during the season, and now we're at the end of the season. And all I ask is, okay, if you value me that much as you say, then give me the same deal, but with a no trade clause, and I'll sign that piece of paper. And you tell me no, then that tells me you don't really value me as you say you do. And so, yeah, since you don't value me as much as you say you do, then let me get the 4 years, 212, because I know when Kawhi's contract comes up, you're going to try to keep him as give him whatever he wants, which he's going to have more than me. And then we can remain Clippers. And they told him no. All right, so then let me go test and see what I can get from the other market. And the Sixers gave him what he thought he was worth. Because what he said in the interview was, what was not going to happen is you give me the money, the contract that I don't want, and then as soon as you get an opportunity, you trade me. And then so now I'm somewhere I don't want to be with a contract that I didn't want. And you told me you wanted me here. So I feel like I understand what Paul George was saying in that. And he very well could be telling a lie. But from how he explained it, I can understand why he did what he did.
I somewhat agree with you. And, you know, I feel like to further extend your argument, I feel like he did have some leverage in the situation, knowing that Kawhi only played 68 games, I think. Well, only is crazy, but Kawhi played 68 games and didn't play most of the playoffs. Paul George played 74 games, played the whole playoffs. So he had a little bit of leverage in the situation where, okay, if you're going to look at who's valued more, then I think the consensus would be over, if you're looking at like the population of people, I think the consensus would be that Paul George was probably more valuable to that team than Kawhi was, especially with availability. But again,
he get hurt a lot too, though.
Paul George, yeah, but I commend Paul George because Paul George had a damn near career-ending injury, and I appreciate Paul George for overcoming that injury that he had in the Olympics. 8 years ago? Well, 4 years ago? No, it was
a while ago. I don't
2016,
remember.
I think it was, wasn't it? 2016, I think it was. I commend him for taking that and, you know, coming back from it and being just as good as he was before he got injured. I commend him for that. But you know, it's one of those things where I think the consensus of people would say, I think Paul George was more valuable to the Clippers than Kawhi was, just based off availability alone. They averaged basically the same amount of points. Kawhi averaged 23.7. Paul George averaged 22.6. A point off, right? Same amount of rebounds, same amount of assists. They were the same player, basically. But Paul George gave you more towards the end of the year than what Kawhi gave you. So I can understand him saying, you know, I don't think I should be paid as number one player, but just give me what you think your number one player is valued at, because I feel like I'm valued the same as him. I can understand that. But don't say that you don't want more, but then ask for more. Because especially whenever you have a track record of saying, I don't think I'm this player anymore. I need to be in a situation where there's people around me. I'm not the number one option. I can do this, do that, and then give examples of, hey, I'm down and I'm going up to block a shot. I get knocked down. The ball gets swung. I'm running out, contesting the shot. Now I'm tired as hell, but then we get the rebound. Now we got to go down on fast break. Ball swung at me. Now I'm tired. Don't say that that's the reason why you don't think you're number one anymore, because you don't want to be in that situation like you were in Indiana, but then come back and say, I want number one money. Like, it's so contradictory. Like I don't know if it's delusion. I don't know if it's like, I don't know what it is with Paul George, but great basketball player, you know, top 15, some argue top 10 player in the NBA. But you got to understand where businesses are coming from. If you're saying one thing, but then coming back and saying another, that shit is like, okay, bro, what the fuck? Like, you just said this. We have record of you saying this. You just told us this 3 months ago. that you don't want more than Kawhi, and you just give me what he give you. I give you that, but then you ask for more. That shit's crazy to me. And and I feel like the reason why he got the biggest reason why he got that in Philadelphia is because Philadelphia had a lot of money to throw around, like a lot of money to throw around. So they could go out there and say, "Oh yeah, shit, Paul George, they don't want to give you that. We'll give it to you." They had a lot of money I think they were under the cap by a wide margin to where they could make this and still bring pieces in. So they got what they needed. They got their third star because Maxey gonna go crazy. Of course, Joel Embiid, MVP caliber player, he gonna go crazy. And then you got another MVP caliber player in Paul George, what people think, like I said, arguably top 10 player in the league. So you got what you wanted. But if you really wanted to stay in LA, then you would have stayed with the word that you had. But I could understand that he felt like he was more valuable than Kawhi. So you asked for, just like D'Lo said, yesterday's price ain't today's price. I
don't even think it's that. I don't think he felt like he was more valuable than Kawhi.
You think he was trying to protect himself?
He definitely was trying to protect himself. Okay, so you said that as an organization, if you tell me I don't want more money than your number one because I'm not a number one guy, but then I ask for a number one. On the flip side of that, if you as an organization tell me as a player, I value you, we want you to remain whatever the organization name is for the rest of your career, we want you to retire here. And I just say, okay, well, you're giving me this money, then just give me a no trade clause.
Should not be traded. Yeah. Okay.
Then we're good. So if you're saying that my word as a player isn't good to you because I'm now asking for more than what the number one guy got, and I'm saying as a player that you as an organization don't really value me, that's where the disconnect was. That's where the
disconnect is. Okay.
Yeah,
I got you.
What is it? What they always say when it's if we get on this podcast, well, I get on this podcast, I can't really think anymore. It's the deal breaker.
Yeah,
it's the deal breaker. That was a deal breaker. Yeah, because I guarantee you, if they would have said, "Okay, we'll give you," well, I don't know, I can't say for a fact, but I'm thinking if they would have said, "Okay, we'll give you 140 and a no trade," he probably would have stayed.
He probably would have. I can see that happening. I can see that happening. There is some argument to both sides, 100%. I feel like the main reason why I'm because at me as a man, my word is my bond. Like I don't necessarily go back. I don't go back on what I say a lot of the time. Like I try to hold my word to high esteem. And if I'm telling you this is what I want, this is what I think I deserve, this is the type of player that I am, this is what I should be paid, then me, as a business owner, I'm gonna hold you to your word. But then if you flip on me, I'm like, oh, what the fuck, where'd this come from? You know what I'm saying? Like, I
yeah, but if you hold yourself to that esteem, I would expect for you to hold somebody else to that same standard. And so he held the Clippers to that same standard, and they didn't maintain their word. And so he was like, all right, well then let me go see what I'm really worth. And he got more than what they were offering him.
I can mess with that. I mean, there's an argument on both sides. I could definitely see where you're coming from. It's just weird because you say all these things, but then you go off and you show something different. I don't like that. That's just like, to me, that shit. You say all these things and then you go off and do something different. I don't like that. That shit is like you conniving as hell to me. don't tell
and
me.
So in this situation, yeah, in this situation, Sticks, they did the same thing to each other. He just ended up with a better deal.
Agreed. I can see that.
Yeah.
So moving forward, what's going on with your boy KD, bro? Why he out here talking? So I don't know if you guys have seen it, but Kevin Durant is out here saying that he's only 6'9", and a lot of players around the league are lying about their height. Now, what, D-Lo, how tall is KD? How tall
KD
is AD? How tall is Joel Embiid? Yeah, how tall is these niggas, bro?
KD is 7 feet tall. KD is 7 feet tall. KD is the biggest troll in the NBA. He trolls with his burner accounts. He trolls when he replies to to regulars, the average Joe, in his actual IG and Twitter accounts. And when reporters ask him dumb questions, he trolls them too. He was clearly trolling here. But
you think so?
Yeah, he was trolling here. He was trolling here. You can look at him and tell he was trolling. He just had a playful nature about him. Maybe he was flirting with old girl. You know, he was on Tinder not too long ago too. So maybe he was flirting. Maybe he was flirting with old girl. But I mean, this has been a debate, a topic of debate for quite some time. KD has always denied being 7 feet tall. I don't know. I don't know if those denials back in the day were playful, but this one was playful. But he's always denied being 7 feet tall. I think at one point, the highest that he would rather be is 6'10". Oh, 6'11". Okay, so you saw 6'11". Okay, I saw 6'10" was the highest that he has actually admitted to being. But now he's claiming to be 6'9". It's funny to me because most men want to be taller than what they are, not shorter than what they are. And I feel like he should really just, if he would embrace being 7 feet tall, I think the perception and how people view him as a basketball player could be a lot different, because he would be probably the most skilled 7 foot tall player in NBA history. Because you think about it, Wemby, 7'4",
7'4",
and people think he is just, and he is a great player. I want to act like he's not, but like, because of his height and his length and the skill that he's considered a unicorn. In my opinion, he ain't touching KD.
Agreed.
So like, I feel like he should probably embrace being 7 feet tall, but because he's listed at 6'9", everybody knows he's taller, but because he's listed at 6'9", it's like, he's a great player, but he's battling with LeBron. He's battling with players like that.
He's clearly taller than LeBron. Clearly.
Yeah, he's taller than AD, who's listed at 6'10", and standing shoulder to shoulder with Joel Embiid, who is listed at 7 feet tall. And I really believe Joel Embiid is 7 feet tall.
For sure.
If not, he's 6'11". Okay.
Oh, okay. Whatever. But yeah. He's 6'11". KD, come on, bro. Like, let's be real, bro. Ever since you've been in the NBA, even back in freaking Texas, everybody thought you was a 7 foot small forward. Like,
you know what I mean?
Stop playing with people's emotions, bro. Stop doing this. Like, we know that you're taller than 6'9". And even if you use I'm only 6'11" with shoes, yeah, that's bullshit too. Because we know you 7 foot tall, bro. Like, stop playing. Right. You 7'2", you 7'2" with shoes. And if you just like D-Lo said, if you accept that, if you literally just accept that, people will look at you more. Because Kevin Durant has kind of a stigma about him. We talked about this before on the show. He has a stigma about him like a James Harden. Like they are too. He's one of the most babied NBA players in the league too. Not as much as Kawhi. I'm gonna give him that.
Who is
Kawhi? KD.
Okay.
He's one of the most babied players in the NBA too. And like, but he does have a stigma about him where I think people.
KD 7 feet tall, man, easily. Yeah, I'm looking at a picture. And I didn't mean to cut you off your jump.
No,
I just thought about looking at pictures and whatnot, because I recall him, Chet, and Bo. They were working out together.
Remember that.
He got a picture standing next to Chet Holmgren, who is 7'1". They shoulder to shoulder.
He's 7 foot tall, bro.
Come on,
he's
KD.
Definitely 7 foot tall, 100%. But I think KD has a perception about him that KD has they put a lot on KD because of the player that KD is, and not only that, the fact that he hasn't succeeded without Golden State, outside of Golden State, as far as championships. That is, I ain't gonna say like statistically he's still a beast, but. There's a lot on KD within that regard because of who KD is. And I think if he was actually 6'9", there wouldn't be this much on him. But since he's the type of player he is at the height that he actually is, he gets a lot of pushback because he is a great basketball player, one of the greatest of all time. He said himself that he should be labeled as he should be in the GOAT conversation, which is kind of crazy. But he said himself he should be in the GOAT conversation. And that's because you are a 7 foot small forward that can handle, shoot it. You are statistically almost every single year in the 50, 40, 90 club. Like, we don't see too many footers, 7 footers doing that. So if you accept the fact that you are actually 7 foot, you would be more highly acclaimed than you are right now. I mean, KD, bro, like that. Why the troll, bro? Like, why you troll like this?
He the biggest troll in the NBA, man.
The biggest troll in the NBA, bro. He got to be the biggest troll in the NBA. Just like you talked about the burner accounts, him trolling people on social media, him trolling reporters, all this other stuff. Like, he's the biggest troll in the NBA, and he may have been. He just did a podcast. I think he went on the Logan Paul or the
with
Logan Paul. Yeah, with Speed, and he was trolling with Speed because Speed is a troll. Right. So, like, he had to be the biggest.
That shit was actually funny, though. I ain't gonna lie.
It was actually hilarious.
He was like, it's easy to recognize when baddies is in the crowd or like when a celebrity. And then the Speed was like, so if I was in the crowd, man, I ain't gonna notice your ass in the crowd.
That was a troll too, because you would definitely know the Speed. You would definitely know the Speed. Speed is one of the biggest social media content creators in the world right now. I think people would know the Speed. If I was walking somewhere, if I was walking around, it was a crowded mall in Washington. The Speed was in the mall, and I walk by like that. I think that's Speed. I would know the Speed.
Oh, you gonna hit the Coming to America? Oh my goodness! I cannot believe it.
It is you. Speed, it is you. Oh my goodness.
The greatest day of my life.
I ain't gonna do all that. No, sir. But my daughter, she just might, because she's a big Speed fan. She might. Sam might actually be like, oh my God, it's Speed. She might gig out. I ain't gonna lie. But or geek out. I don't know why I said gig. What the fuck was that? But yeah, KD is definitely the biggest troll. He's definitely a 7 foot small forward, bro. And one of the greatest to ever do it. So, like,
yeah.
Why are you trolling?
Easily.
You're not 6'9".
I mean, his money is easy. His handles, his social handles are easy money sniper, because he is a sniper.
He is.
I mean, on the court, cash. So I mean, I don't know.
Hard to stop, especially at 7 foot, KD.
Yes.
Hard to stop.
Yes. Exactly. Embrace it, KD. You're 7 feet, my boy.
The boy shooting over everybody. That man, he's the next generation Dirk Nowitzki. I think he's greater than Dirk, but he's the next generation. 7 foot, can 50, 40, 90, can shoot it for anywhere on the court. Got a handle that's better than Dirk's. But like, for Dirk Nowitzki, he had a really, really good handle, could get to the basket when he wanted to. Like, he's great. But why you don't want to be 7 foot is insane. Why don't you want to be tall? Because just like D-Lo said, like, most guys, especially in society, they want to be tall. Like, there's a song, I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. Like, why wouldn't you want to be 7 foot?
But hold on, guess what, dude? Guess what Skio, right? Skio said in that, I wish I was about 6'9" so I can get
be with Yoshi, because she don't know me, but Yoshi's really fine. Yeah.
So yeah. Maybe that's why he want to be 6'9". I don't know. Try and give him the benefit of the doubt, but come on, KD.
Man. That nigga 7 foot, bro. Go crazy, KD at 7 feet, bro. We know you are. We all know. Right. We all know you.
Anyway, Sticks, episode 71
in the books, man. We left here a little befuddled and what's the other word you say?
Flabbergasted.
We left here a little flabbergasted and befuddled, but we got 71 in the books.
You know what I mean? Flabbergasted. I don't understand why the NFL players don't make the money that they make. But anyway,
it's insane.
Well, they make the money that the NBA players make. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, it's a wrap. We appreciate y'all for tuning in to Too Complex. Remember that life is short and oftentimes complex, but when it becomes too complex, don't be afraid to lean on those that you love the most to bring you simplicity and balance in life. Stay prayed up in this crazy world. A few requests thrown above can return you peace and sanity. Thanks for loving us and supporting this podcast. It means the world to us. We're sending our love right back to you. Don't forget to subscribe on whatever podcast platform that you listen to, and also to follow us on all of our social media platforms. That's YouTube, Threads, TikTok, and Instagram. I reversed it this time. I was all over the place this time. And don't forget, if it ain't too complex, it ain't complex at all. Until next time, we will see you when we see you. Salute.
Salute.